What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another FPL video on the channel. And finally, guys, the international break is over and we are back to business. We are back speaking FPL, and in today's video we are going to be looking at my game week 30 team selection. And guys, the wild card is going to be activated. It is confirmed. In fact, it has already been activated, so we do have a lot of things to discuss, including my new chip strategy. So with that being said, before we get into all of that good stuff, let's just start off with the quickest review ever. All right, game week 29 went really well. We got a massive green arrow all the way up to 466k. I honestly don't really want to speak too much about blank game week 29 because it honestly feels like it happened 10 years ago. Like, it's been so long. So yeah, I don't really want to spend too much time talking about game week 29, but as I said, all in all, it was really good, very successful. My players just absolutely cooked that game week, and as I said, we got a massive score of 69 points, which meant I got a massive green arrow up to 466k. So that is how we did in blank game week 29. But with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and move on to my game week 30 wildcard team. All right, guys, so first things first, before we do get into my game week 30 wildcard team, I want to sort of discuss with you guys what my chip strategy is and my thinking behind it. So as you guys can see, my plan is to wildcard in game week 30. Then from game week 31 to game week 33, my plan is to use the assistant manager chip. I feel like that is probably the best time to use it because we've got back-to-back doubles in game week 32 and game week 33, and I think in game week 31 there is also quite a few good table bonus opportunities with certain managers like Ruben Amorim, potentially Unai Emery, and Oliver Glasner potentially as well. So yeah, I feel like there's some good table bonus opportunities in game week 31, and in game week 32 and 33 we do have back-to-back double game weeks. So yeah, as I said, I do feel like it is the best sort of period for me to use my assistant manager chip. Then my plan is to use my free hit in game week 34, and again, I like the idea of free hitting in game week 34 because I'm sort of going to have a lot of doublers right in game week 33. Pretty much most of my team will be doubling in game week 33, and with that being said, that means that those same players that are going to double in 33 are going to have blanks in 34. So I think it just makes sense again for me to use my free hit in game week 34 because I'll have a lot of players blanking in that week. And then yeah, in terms of bench boost, I'm still undecided, which is why I've got the asterisk next to it. I'm still undecided as to when I'm going to use my bench boost, but after looking at the fixtures and how my team looks in game week 38 potentially, I think I'll be going for a bench boost in game week 38, right? So that is actually what my chip strategy plan is at the moment. It could change. Well, the bench boost could change. Everything else in terms of wildcard, assistant manager, and free hit, that's going to stay the same. But my bench boost, I could use it before game week 38, but at the moment, I think I'll use it in game week 38. So yeah, that is sort of what my chip strategy is at the moment. Hopefully it does work out for me, but I just wanted to quickly cover that. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and have a look at my current wildcard draft for game week 30. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and have a look at my first wildcard draft for game week 30. And yes, of course, guys, a few players could change, but I do want to say the core of the team is most likely going to stay the same. So with that being said, let's get straight into it, and we'll start things off with the defense. And in goal, we've got still David Raya, and in the back three we've got Gabriel, Gavardia, and Ibrahima Konate. So this is the defense I'm going for, and the reason why I'm sticking with my double Arsenal defense in Raya and Gabriel is because Arsenal do have a very good fixture run for the remainder of the season, which does include a double game week most likely in game week 33, right? That is the reason why I'm going for Raya and Gabriel, and that's the reason why I'm going for double Arsenal defense. So look, as you guys can see, Arsenal's fixtures are really good, starting off with Fulham at home, Everton away, Brentford at home, and then in game week 33, that's when the double is most likely going to be, which would then consist of playing against Ipswich away from home and then Crystal Palace at home. It's not 100% confirmed yet, but as I said, the general consensus going around the FPL community is that these doubles, the teams that are blanking in game week 34 will double in 33. So look, and then even after that, right, in 35, 36, 37, 38, yeah, Arsenal have really good fixtures. So I'm actually really, comfortable with still persisting with the double Arsenal defense, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. So yeah, that's why I'm going for Raya and Gabriel. We've then got Gavardia in there as well. I think Leicester at home is a really good entry point, and then once again the fixtures for the remainder of the season for Man City are actually pretty good, which again includes having a double game week in game week 33, which would consist of playing against Everton away and Aston Villa at home. Again, the majority of players in this wildcard draft, the reason why I'm going for them is because they've got doubles coming up, right? So I'm just literally targeting the teams that do have double game weeks coming up. And again, I think the general run of fixtures for Manchester City are really, really good. And then they've got a bonus as well of having a double game week in 33. So I like Gavardiol a little bit. I mean, look, City defense isn't great. It's not perfect, but Gavardiol does have the attacking threat. It's always there with a player like him. And as I said, Man City have the double game week. So for me, it just makes sense, right? And then in defense, we've also got Konate. Now, look, Liverpool don't have any double game weeks, but Liverpool still are one of the best defensive teams in the Premier League this season. And also, I really do like their fixtures, especially the short term. Like for the short term, I really am a big fan of the Liverpool fixtures. And I do feel like, right, I feel like Liverpool defenders will be quite differential at this stage of the game, because everyone that's going for sort of wild cards now, or everyone that's looking to bring in new defenders for their team, they're probably going to be targeting players like Munoz and other defenders that have double game weeks. But honestly, I don't want to just completely ignore Liverpool because they don't have a double game week for the remainder of the season. I still think they are the best defensive team in the league, and as I said, I think their fixtures for the short term are really, really good. Everton at home is great in my opinion for a defender. I think Fulham away is not too bad. West Ham at home is really good in my opinion, and Leicester away is fantastic. I will most likely be free hitting in 34. But yeah, like I said, for the short term, I actually don't mind Konate. I really, really don't. So yeah, I'm more than happy to stick with Konate, to be honest with you guys. And even Chelsea away is not too bad. Arsenal at home's tough. Brighton away is decent, and then Crystal Palace at home is okay, I guess. But by this point, to be fair, Liverpool would have wrapped up the Premier League title. So yeah, maybe I wouldn't want Konate by this point, because yeah, they're probably going to be on the beach, to be fair, because they would have just won the Prem title. So yeah, but as I said, I think for the short term, I really do like the Liverpool defenders, and I don't really know, like, yes, I could go for Munoz, but you guys will see why I've not gone for Munoz in a second. But yeah, for me, guys, yeah, I just really like Konate and the Liverpool defense. I don't want to completely ignore them, and I just love the short-term fixtures. So yeah, that is how the defense is looking for Game Week 30 in terms of, you know, the players that will be starting in Game Week 30. On the bench, we've actually got Milenkovic and we've got Jed Spence. Now, hold on a second, right? Because I know a lot of people are going to laugh at me for having Jed Spence in my FPL team. Like, why on earth would I do that? But the reason why I've got Jed Spence, right, is because he would only be playing in my team for Game Week 31. And in Game Week 31, Spurs play against Southampton at home. That's literally the only reason I've got Jed Spence. And again, he's someone that could come out of the team. But at the moment, I do quite like the idea of going for Jed Spence just to play him in Game Week 31 against Southampton at home. It could be Mikalenko. I can't go for Lewis Hall, I'll explain why. I can't go for Munoz, and again, you guys will see why in a second. So yeah, at the moment, it could be either Jed Spence or Mikalenko. Basically, this defender here that I'm putting as my 5th defender slot, they're not going to play a lot of games for me. I only need them in certain game weeks, and as I said, I'll get onto that after I've shown you guys the whole team, so now I can show you what the plan is to do with this team moving forward, which we'll get onto. But yeah, just relax for a second, right? It's not confirmed that I have Jed Spence, but for now, yeah, we've got him in the team. And then, of course, we've got Milenkovic as well. Nottingham Forest, yeah, just one of the best defences in the Premier League this season. So that is my defence for now. Of course, it is subject to change. It's not 100% confirmed. But let's move on to the midfield, guys. And in midfield, we do have a midfield 4 of Kluivert, Mohamed Salah, Eberechi Eze, and Ismaila Sarr. So, first things first, right? In fact, I want to go for my midfield and attack. Screw it. We're not just going to go for the midfield. We're going to go for the midfield and the front 3. So that's the midfield 4. And then for the attacking 3, we've got big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta, Marmoush, and Alexander Isak. And on the bench, we've got Anthony Gordon. Now, let me explain, because we've got a lot of things to discuss. First things first, I do want to say I've actually got this team with 3.4 million in the bank, right? I just want to make that very, very clear. We've got 3.4 million in the bank. Now, Right, it's very important that you guys do keep on watching because I've basically sort of banked in transfers to make with this team, right? So that's why I've got money left over in the bank. And remember, guys, I need money in the bank because I've got the assistant manager chip activated. So with that being said, right, this is the midfield four. That is the the attacking front three. So I like Clivert, but again, he won't be playing many games for me. I think at most he'll be playing. In fact, he might even just be playing one game for me, right? Which is against Ipswich at home, and I'm more than happy to play him in that game. Of course, Mohamed Salah is Mohamed Salah. There's no way on earth I'm going to get rid of Mohamed Salah. I just really do like the fixtures that Liverpool have, especially in the short term. And then we've got Eberechi Eze and Ismaila Sarr and big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta. So as you guys can see, I've gone for triple. Right, I've gone for triple Crystal Palace attack. And the reason being, right, is because they've got the most fixtures left out of any team in the Premier League, right? They've got back-to-back doubles in Game Week 33 and Game Week 34, right? And the reason why I've gone for triple Palace is because I don't think, when I look at the fixtures, right, that Crystal Palace do have coming up, I don't think it favours a Crystal Palace defender. And I don't think it favours Daniel Munoz or Henderson for that matter, right? And I do expect the attackers over this fixture run to actually get more points than the Crystal Palace defenders. Now, when you look at these fixtures, right? Southampton away, it's a great fixture for an attacker. It's much better for an attacker as opposed to a defender, in my opinion. Brighton at home. Again, I think it's much better for an attacker over a defender. Man City away, Newcastle away. This double game week here in 32, I do not expect Crystal Palace to get a clean sheet at all, which is why I don't like Daniel Munoz, which is why I don't really like Henderson. Now, of course, Daniel Munoz does have that attacking threat, 100% guys, but honestly, when we're talking about odds here and we're talking about percentages, I feel like a player like Ismaila Sarr or Eze or Mateta, right? I just feel like the Crystal Palace attack in general have a higher chance of scoring than Munoz getting a clean sheet. Or Munoz getting an attacking return in a fixture like Man City away or Newcastle away. Like these fixtures here in Game Week 32, it's just not good for a player like Daniel Munoz. I wouldn't be surprised if he just gets 2 points against City and 2 points against Newcastle. But I do expect Crystal Palace to score goals in these games. Like Man City's defense isn't really great, if we're being honest. Newcastle's defense is slightly better, but still, I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Palace do get a goal. Like I think Crystal Palace are more likely to score a goal in a game like this against Newcastle away, as opposed to getting a clean sheet, right? So that's why I prefer the Palace attack. Even in Game Week 33, right? When Crystal Palace have a double against Bournemouth at home and Arsenal away, again, I don't really, like, they're just not going to get a clean sheet against Arsenal away. I highly doubt it. However, they do have a better chance of at least nicking a goal or two, right? So I just prefer the Crystal Palace attack for the remainder of the season, as opposed to going for 2 Palace attackers and 1 Palace defender like Daniel Munoz, which is why I've decided to go for triple Palace attack. And I don't mind it. I think it's different, right? At the end of the day, right, we are coming into the business end of the FPL season, and I need to do a couple of things that are different, right? That are going to help me climb those ranks. And I feel like a lot of people are going to go for Daniel Munoz on their wild card, but I don't think a lot of people will go for triple Palace attack. And I feel like this is an area of potential gain for me, right? This is somewhere where I could gain rank in FPL and go against the grain, right? Which is why I do like the idea of going for Ismaila Sarr, Eze, and big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta. I feel like it's guaranteed points, right? Because when you talk about Crystal Palace scoring goals, right, you talk about these 3 players. These are the 3 players that we expect to score goals and to get assists, right? And I can see Crystal Palace getting quite a few goals with the running that they do have coming up, right? Southampton away, Brighton at home, a double game week of City away, Newcastle away, and then another double game week of Bournemouth at home and Arsenal away. So yeah, I see goals in that game. I certainly see more goals than clean sheets. And that's ultimately the reason why I'm going for triple Palace attack. So yeah, I just wanted to explain that quickly. But also, what I do want to explain as well is why I've only gone for 2 Newcastle players. Now, as you can see, I've got Isak and Anthony Gordon. First things first, I do want to say, right, Anthony Gordon, right now, he's obviously suspended, which is why he's going to be on my bench for Game Week 30. However, he's also injured. Now, I'm not too sure how serious the injury is, but I feel like there is a good chance he could make it for the next game against Leicester, because Newcastle do play against Leicester on a Monday night, right? So because they play against Leicester on a Monday night, I do think there's a good chance Anthony Gordon could make it, right? So essentially, because Anthony Gordon is suspended for the next game against Brentford, right? Anthony Gordon won't play all the way up until the 7th of April. So there's still like a week before Anthony Gordon will play. So I don't think the injury is that serious, and I do expect him to make it. So at the moment, I've got Anthony Gordon, but again, that could change if we get any new information about Anthony Gordon's potential injury before the deadline. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. So in terms of why I've just gone for 2 Newcastle players, right? As you guys can see, I've got no Newcastle defender. That is because there is a good chance I do use an assistant manager, or I use my assistant manager on Eddie Howe in game week 32, I do believe. Yeah, in game week 32, there's a good chance I use the assistant manager chip on Eddie Howe, and we'll get onto that in a second. But that's the reason why I've not gone for triple Newcastle. So yeah, and obviously me going for triple Crystal Palace does mean I won't be using my assistant manager chip on Glasner. Again, the reason why I don't really necessarily want to go for Glasner is just because I don't see them, like, City away. They could beat Man City away. They could beat Man City away, but I just don't know how likely it is. And the same goes for Newcastle. So yeah, but in terms of the assistant manager chip, I don't want to waffle too much. We'll get onto that in a second. But let's just discuss the team. But yeah, we've got Isak, we've got Gordon, and then to finish off, we've got Marmoush, right? Marmoush against Leicester at home, I like a lot. Now, Erling Haaland did come off injured against Bournemouth, and it doesn't look great. We don't know the extent of the injury. Well, at the time of recording, I don't know the extent of the injury. So yeah, I think Marmoush is pretty safe for minutes in the short term, but also, to be fair, in the long term, I do think Marmoush is pretty safe for minutes, man. I mean, he came off the bench to replace Haaland. He came on and scored against Bournemouth in the FA Cup. He just does look like the next best player after Erling Haaland in that Manchester City attack. Phil Foden stinking up the place. Doku's not really competing with Marmoush in terms of positionally. So yeah, we don't really need to worry about Marmoush, but about Doku, sorry. I mean, Savinho's also doing okay, but again, he's not really competing for Marmoush with minutes. It really just is Phil Foden, and I just feel like Phil Foden is just stinking up the place, right? So I don't feel like Foden is a threat to Marmoush, and I just feel like, as I said, Marmoush has been one of Man City's best attackers, right? So I do feel like he's pretty safe for minutes. Now, in terms of game week 30, right, I will be looking to captain Marmoush. I honestly believe I'll be going for Marmoush captain. It is a toss-up. It's obviously a toss-up between Mohamed Salah and between Marmoush. But honestly, guys, I think I'm leaning towards Marmoush, man. Leicester are really, really bad. Marmoush looks like a player that can really just get goals and assists. And I know everyone's going to be the plan was to captain Erling Haaland, but unfortunately he did get injured. So yeah, look, it's really important that I get this call right? Because if I get it wrong, my season could be over 100%. And again, I've been in this situation before, and it does scare me a little bit. But Leicester are really, really bad, and Man City being the home team, I can see them scoring 4, 5, 6 goals in a fixture like this. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Liverpool have had a rest, and Mykolenko is potentially injured and out of this game against Liverpool. So yeah, it is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie, it's a tough one. And again, I could change, but at the moment, I am thinking of going for that Marmoush captain. I'll be totally honest with you guys. As I said, right, it could change. 100% it could change. I might go for Mohamed Salah instead, but there's not much in it, in my opinion. There's not much in it. And I really just have a good feeling about Marmoush, man. I just do have a good feeling about him. So yeah, potentially I will be going for Marmoush captain. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. As I said, it's a toss-up between him and Mohamed Salah. But yeah, so look, that is how my team is looking. That's how the wildcard team is looking, and I feel pretty good about it. Of course, a couple players might change, but the core of this team will stay the same. On the bench as well, I forgot to mention, we do have Areola. That is just in case I do, just for when I use a bench boost, basically. I don't want to spend too much on a second goalkeeper, and if I do decide to bench boost in game week 38, Areola does play against Ipswich away from home. So yeah, it just does make sense in my opinion. So that's how the squad is currently looking, guys, for game week 30. Now, with that being said, what I want to go into now is sort of the plans moving forward with my team. So let's go over to planfpl.com, right? So as you guys can see, this is how the team does look for game week 30. And as I said, bro, we got 3.4 million in the bank. So that's how we're going to set up for game week 30. Captain on Marmoush. And yeah, I think it looks really, really good. Like, honestly, I think it looks fantastic. Really, really happy with it. So yeah, in terms of the plan moving forward, so in game week 31, as I said, we activate the assistant manager chip. But before we do that, let's just sort out the starting 11. So assuming Gordon is okay to play, we bring in Gordon to the starting 11, we take out Kluivert, right? Then we also bring in Jed Spence and we take out Josko Gvardia, and that's how the team would shape up for game week 31. Honestly, I don't mind it, right? It's got double Arsenal defense against Everton away, who going forward aren't that great, so I don't mind it. We then got Jed Spence against Southampton at home. Again, I don't mind it. And then Konate against Fulham away. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that defensive lineup. Then in midfield, we've got Gordon against Leicester away, Salah, Eze, Sarr against Brighton at home, along with big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta, Marmoush against Manchester United away, and Alexander Isak against Leicester away. Again, I'm probably going to be captaining Isak against Leicester. I just want to target the relegation sides, if I'm being honest with you guys. And then on the bench, we've got Kluivert, Milenkovic, and Gvardia. Now, this is where we also activate the assistant manager chip. And the manager that I want to use for game week 30, right? No matter the results in game week 30, right, this will be a table bonus fixture, guaranteed. And I actually want to do it for my own team, Manchester United. I want to use it on Ruben Amorim. I honestly think in the Manchester derby, playing at home, we can beat Manchester City, guys. I really do believe that wholeheartedly. No Manchester United bias involved in this prediction. I just honestly believe we can beat Manchester City, and we actually, under Ruben Amorim, right, we have been really good against the better sides in the Premier League. We've already beaten City, we drew to Liverpool, we beat Arsenal in the FA Cup, we drew to Arsenal in the league. Like, honestly, under Ruben Amorim, against the better sides in the Premier League, we've done really well. And I think Man City are there for the taking. I really do. And I really have a good gut feeling, right, that we can beat and that we will beat Man City in this game. So for a table bonus fixture, I don't mind it. Of course, there is the potential, depending on what happens in game week 30, depending on how the results go. Crystal Palace versus Brighton could be a table bonus game, so maybe, actually no, I can't even use it on Glasner, so scrap that. I've got free Crystal Palace players, so I couldn't use it on Glasner. However, again, depending on how the results go in game week 30, Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest could be a table. Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest could be a table bonus game, so potentially I could use it on Unai Emery instead. But I think I'll just be going for Amorim. I'll be honest, I think I'll be going for Amorim. So yeah, that's how we're looking for game week 31. Now for game week 32, let's sort out the starting 11. So the plan for game week 32 to bench Jed Spence, bring in Milenkovic for Everton at home, and then yeah, bench Kluivert against Fulham at home. And then again, now I could keep Amorim, right? I could keep Amorim for another table bonus game against Newcastle away from home, but I'm not too confident about this. I think Newcastle will beat us, right? 100%. I think we'll lose that game away at St James's Park. The atmosphere, the crowd, just Newcastle being a very good team this season. I don't see us getting a result there at all. So my plan is, which is why I've got only 2 Newcastle players, my plan here is to bring in Eddie Howe, right? Is to bring in Eddie Howe. It's not a table bonus. Neither of these games will be a table bonus game, which is pretty unfortunate. However, it just makes sense for me. I mean, in terms of table bonus opportunities for game week 32, there is of course Crystal Palace, but I'm locked out of Crystal Palace and Oliver Glasner. And to be honest with you, I don't know how much I like this this assistant manager chip for Glasner in game week 32. I really don't. Away at St James's Park is such a tough place to go to, and I just wouldn't want to back against Newcastle when they're playing at home, to be honest with you. So yeah, I just think the table bonus chance, the table bonus opportunities here in game week 32 aren't great. So I'm more than happy to play it safe, I guess you could say, with Eddie Howe here. And again, this is how the team would be looking in game week 32. The defense I'm really happy with. We've got Konate against West Ham. We've got double Arsenal against Brentford at home. We've got Milenkovic against Everton at home. We've got Gordon with a double game week. We've got Salah. We've got Eze, Sarr, Mateta with a double game week. And this is why I've gone triple Palace, right? Because Munoz, I'm not expecting Munoz to get anything against City away or Newcastle away. However, I do expect Palace to score in these 2 fixtures, which is why I've gone for triple Palace attack, which is why I've gone for Sarr, Eze, and Mateta, because I can genuinely see them getting some FPL points here. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. We then got Isak and Marmoush again. Isak with a double game week, and then Marmoush against Crystal Palace at home. So yeah, that's how my team will be looking for game week 32. We've got triple Newcastle for their double and triple Palace for their double. More than happy with that. And then game week 33, right? The plan would be, again, this is another double game week, but it's not actually, because it's not being confirmed, it's actually not being added to this FPL planner. But Man City would be doubling here. If I just let you, in fact, let's just go to this real quick, right? So as I said, right, you guys can see here, shout out to FPL Focal who made this graphic. But yeah, this is the most likely sort of scheduling coming up in Game Week 33. Arsenal will have a double against Ipswich and Palace. Aston Villa will have a double against Newcastle and Man City away. Palace will have a double against Bournemouth and Arsenal away. And Man City will have a double against Everton and Aston Villa. So with that being said, right, this is the plan for Game Week 33. So I'm going to start Gavardia for their double game week. Of course, then I'll have 2 Arsenal defenders for their double, 1 City for their double, and Canate against Leicester. I then have triple Palace for their double. Now, Newcastle don't have a double game week, so I've got 3 free transfers to use. My plan is to take out Anthony Gordon, take out Kluivert, and then bring in Bukayo Saka, who has actually been confirmed fit for the upcoming game against, I think, who are Arsenal playing next? Fulham at home, I believe. Yeah, so Saka is back from injury, and by this point, he should be able to play 90-minute games, right? So with that being said, I want Saka in for the double game week. So my route to getting Saka is to, take out Kluivert, take out Gordon, bring in Saka, also remove Eddie Howe, swap Eddie Howe, and bring in, now again, it depends, this could change, this isn't set in stone. It really just does depend on, like, I want to go for a table bonus opportunity. Now there is a chance, depending on how certain results go, that Emery could have a table bonus fixture against Newcastle or Man City, right, for their double. So potentially I could be going for Emery. So let's just say we go for Emery, assistant manager, and then for the other midfielder I go for, it's most likely going to be an Aston Villa player. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be Morgan Rogers. As much as he has annoyed me this season, he's just the most secure for minutes, and I don't have enough to go for Asensio. So yeah, I'll most likely be going for Rogers. I could go for Asensio if I was to downgrade Milenkovic on my wildcard to maybe Nico Williams. But for now, let's just say we go for Morgan Rogers, right? So if we do go for Morgan Rogers for his double game week against Newcastle and Man City, there is a chance I actually do bench Alexander Isak, right? Because he's only got a single game week. As much as I do think Alexander Isak could score against Morgan Rogers, not against Morgan Rogers, against Aston Villa, I feel like I just have to back the double game weeker in Morgan Rogers, right? So that is what I could be doing for Game Week 33. Use all 3 of my transfers, bring in Bukayo Saka, bring in Morgan Rogers for their double game week, and also use Unai Emery for the assistant managership, hoping that he does have at least 1 table bonus fixture. If he doesn't have a table bonus fixture, there is a chance I also use it on Ange Postecoglou. Like, what I want to be very, very aggressive, right, with the assistant managership, and because I use, so my plan is to use it on Amarim for a table bonus, then to play it safe and go for Eddie Howe, who's got no table bonus game. I want to use my last sort of week with the assistant manager for a table bonus game, right? So at least 2 of the 3 game weeks I use my assistant manager, I want it to be for a table bonus. So yeah, if Emery doesn't have any table bonus games against Newcastle and Man City, obviously it all depends on how the results go in the Premier League. If there's no table bonus there for Emery, then I actually will go for I'll go for Ange Postecoglou, which will most likely be a table bonus against Nottingham Forest, right? I'll go for Ange Postecoglou and take a risk, right? That's my plan. So yeah, that's how the team is looking ultimately for Game Week 33. It looks really good. It's got a lot of double game weekers in there. The only players with a single game week in this team is actually my Liverpool players against Leicester away from home, Salah and Canate. So I don't mind it at all. In terms of captaincy for that week, I'd probably go for Bukayo Saka because he's got a double against Ipswich and Crystal Palace. So yeah, that's sort of everything covered in terms of my plans from Game Week 30 up until Game Week 33. Of course, Game Week 34, I'll be using my free hit, so there's no point talking about that. We'll leave that for another day. So yeah, that's just sort of my plan moving forward, to be honest with you guys. Let me know what you guys do think. And once again, just let me know what you guys think of my wildcard draft for Game Week 30. Honestly, I don't mind it at all. I'm a big fan of it. I like my team. I like my plan. I feel pretty confident with it. So yeah, man, I know it's been a pretty long team selection video, but I just feel like there's so much to discuss. So yeah, let me know what you guys do think of that. Again, there's a chance I do make some changes, but at the moment, this is how we're looking, man. And I feel I actually do like this a lot. So yeah, but that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed. Of course, we'll be doing a watch long on Wednesday evening, right? Because there's a lot of Premier League games on Wednesday evening, and I feel like it'll be a pretty good one. So yeah, I'll be doing a watch long on Wednesday evening for the Premier League games. I think there's like six games on. So yeah, we'll be doing a live watch long. It's been a while, man. It has been a while, but finally, guys, we are back. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I will catch you guys in the next one. But until then, I'm out. Peace.